How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TableTakes. It's the best 4 days in gaming all year round, and we have a very special guest with us today. Hello, Anita. Welcome.
Hi.
We are always
I'm
so excited to have you here. How are you doing? How's your week been?
my week's been pretty chill. I've been busy working at graphic designer things, taking care of my dear sweet boy Watson, and otherwise just getting ready to do a couple new stream things. I've got a whole to-do list, and it's very packed, and I'm very excited.
For anybody out there who's curious, Watson is the new cat that you adopted, is correct?
Correct. I could even drag him on camera.
Oh yes, always. That it would be my my
Yee.
greatest request as always.
Show us the pets. Show us the pets. There you go.
Oh yes.
So here he is, the boy.
Oh. Mm.
That's my
Co-parenting must be tough, huh,
son!
Noir?
He's my boy! Oh,
Thank you, Noir.
Thank you for that.
Well, what about you, Noir? How have you been?
well, I've just been taking care of my boy. And just doing some pre-con prep stuff. I'm going to be at C2E2 this weekend. I'm also doing a panel for Big Bad Con this weekend, all about being a freelancer. So I've been preparing for that. And I got a few games coming up
Ooh, like
that
what?
I've got a My Chemical Romance themed one shot called The Beaten and the Damned that we're going to be
What?
playing. Yeah.
Ooh.
If you don't know, the Black Parade is kind of like a concept album, so we're going to be playing in the world of that album, using Pathfinder, which I'm super stoked for. Uh, I've
You
been
probably
doing a
didn't
lot.
notice about me, but I am a huge MCR fan. And I'm sure a lot of
Really?
people, I'm sure a lot of people in this group will say that how excited they are that you're doing something this cool. Wow.
So we actually we have a fun little donation thing where the players can use My Chemical Romance lyrics to make things happen, and you can donate to give them an extra lyric. So, if they want their opponents to not be okay, then they can say a line from "I'm not okay,"
Yes.
and I will strict their opponents with a condition,
Or
or
they can sing a
it,
line from Dead, maybe.
yeah, or teenagers scared the living heck out of whoever
Ah,
their
yes.
opponents are.
I'm so excited. That sounds
So
so cool.
so we're gonna be playing around with that. I'm super excited for that. But yeah, that's I've just been prepping a lot of projects, 3D printing a lot of stuff. Me and Anita printed a D20 dice holder.
Ooh. It
So
looks like the ones you can get at the movie theater for the
right,
D&D
well,
movie.
so those are a little bigger. So I might have us print this out a bit bigger
Mm.
to
I'll
consider
scale it
holding
up.
some stuff. But yeah, that's what we've been up to. It's all primed but not painted yet. So
I can't wait to see it when it's finished. And I can't wait to hear about your escapades, MCR, and Pathfinder combined, which I never thought was a sentence that I'd ever say. So that's really cool. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Noir. And Bonsai. Now,
Hey yo.
Bonsai Baby, for those of you who maybe don't know, who doesn't know at this point, you have a real living 3D printed baby. Isn't that
I
correct?
do. I do have a 3D printed baby. It's and it's also printing poop right now as we speak,
Oh,
probably because it's crying a lot. It's a gift that keeps on giving. No. But yeah, no, he's so cute. I'm very happy to have him. I can't really show him around to everybody because of course he hasn't got all of his vaccinations yet.
mm.
And such. So we're just waiting. So everyone's like, hey, are you gonna bring him for Easter and do Easter egg hunt? I'm like, the offspring is 2 months. What is he gonna do?
Well,
What is he
You
gonna do?
dress him up like a little bunny. That's what you do.
yes, that's what you do.
All right, so I just have to be like, the internet demanded that I make my baby into a bunny. So here you go. Here's baby bunny.
Baby Bunzai.
Baby bonsai.
Have you been up to anything else besides taking care of a life and nurturing and growing it?
I've been on and off again. When I have a little bit of time when I'm streaming, I get to play. I just played this game called Chia, which it looks very very happy. It has like very chill Zelda vibes. Open world game where you play this girl who has to save her father from the bad guys.
Ooh.
But when you go through the main story plot, no spoilers. It's just gonna be like, whoa! It goes real 180 real quick. But it's still very happy graphics, and also wanted to play it because it's featured around an island culture of New Chaldea, and all stuff, or Caledonia. I think the islands of there. And so I was like, I gotta represent more islanders. Also, hey, speaking of representation, happy Trans Awareness Day for everyone out there.
Oh, yay!
Hey.
Yee.
Noir rocking the rainbow. Thank you for that. Yes,
I
thank
got a
you for that,
non-binary Janice cube. There we go.
yeah.
As a non-binary myself, I appreciate you all being aware of me. Now stop receiving.
Thank you, Bonsai. I'm excited for all of the news that we're going to hear.
What
from
about you? What have you been up to?
Well, I may have teased a specific thing that I was working on, maybe a project that I've been working on for the last couple of weeks, and it's finally all set up. And I want to show it to you guys. I'm gonna pull up my webcam for a second and show you. So here we go. So take a look over here. Hold on, I gotta make sure I can see everybody. Okay, yeah, it's a little blurry.
That is
Let
a
me fix
colorful
that.
blur.
Let me fix that. Wow, look at it. It's so
Hey!
cute. Look at all the
PC
colors.
upgrade.
Yeah, so it's a fully built PC.
Is that a 3080 you got in there?
Yeah, 3060 Ti. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm assuming you're talking about the graphics card. I don't know.
Yeah.
I built it all by myself. And
Heck yeah.
I have Danny Rosado to thank for it. Thank you for helping me do it all by myself. He came over and he built the whole thing, and I appreciate it. But I'm very excited about it because I've been playing a lot of Minecraft, and I'm super excited that I can play on like all the crazy good graphics and stuff like that. But that's not the only new thing that I got. As you know, I have a huge catalog of Kickstarter stuff that slowly trickles in, and I can't show it all to you at once. So I'm super excited to show you now the expansions to. Let me unblur my camera before I do this. I learned my lesson. The expansions to the Ares expedition of terraforming Mars. So here we have the three expansions: Discovery, Foundations, and Crisis. And they all add a lot of content, but Crisis in particular makes it a co-op game. Have you ever wanted to play Terraforming Mars as a co-op game? Well, now you can. It's super fun. I had a great time putting it together, sleeving everything, and finding out where everything goes, and trying to get a bunch of baggies to put everything in because there's so much stuff to baggie now. There's extra pieces and bits and stuff like that. So that's what I've been up to. Just a whole lot of new stuff in my life. But there's a lot of new stuff going on in the tabletop world, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to tell you all about it. So without further ado, let's jump right into the news. We got some headlines, and we're going to start with our special guest, Anita. And we have a special event coming up, a little preview that Anita wants to bring to us. Tell us more.
Yes. We are later in this episode. We are going to be interviewing Craig Campbell from NerdBurger Games. He'll be joining us later for an interview to talk about his brand new project, Die Laughing 2, Die Laughinger. It is a short play. The original Die Laughing is a short play, GM-less tabletop role-playing game where you're all going to die. But the point is to make it as funny as possible for when you do. And there are ways that you can still influence the story even after your character gets written out of the narrative. It's a good bloody fun, and y'all should check it out. But for more on that, we will be interviewing him later this episode. So stay tuned for that.
I have my eyes peeled and I am ready to go. I have so many questions. I love the title of it, Die Laughing, but I always thought GM-less games are the kind of story games that you can just like plop down on the table and you don't have to worry about like the forever DM thing going on. Plus the premise of it. I mean, you can play with like dead characters. That's super cool.
Yeah,
I've
you
seen
can
some
still
stuff
influence
like
the
that.
story even when you're gone.
That's so much better. Like that's so much better. I don't know why all TRPGs don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm very excited to talk with Craig about it. I do a little bit of graphic design for him on the side. And
Oh,
I did work on Code Warriors, and I'm doing work on an upcoming project that I probably can't talk about just yet. And I did like some promo graphics for this little crowdfunder that he's got going right now.
wow.
But yeah, that's it.
You've done a lot of work. You are a busy person.
I'm adding the experience to my portfolio. So companies, you can hire me.
Yeah, that's why we hired you. That's why we got you on our show today.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for bringing that news to us. We are excited for the interview, so y'all stay tuned. It's coming up right after our crowdfunders today. But we got some more news to get into here, so let's jump into some D&D news. Noir, take us in our next headline.
All right, so the Dungeons and Dragons cast played Dungeons and Dragons. I'm gonna be completely transparent with you folks. I'm not Wizards' biggest fan. That said, oh man, this movie is actually really, really, really good. But to get back to the headline, Wizards of the Coast, Sarah Sharp recalled how they ran a one-shot D&D 5e scenario for the actors 2 years ago in Ireland, the day before shooting started on the upcoming film. It also happened to be the first day that the cast had met in person, so this 2-hour tabletop session was used as a bonding experience. Chris Pine is quoted as saying he was converted to a true believer by his time with the RPG, going on to play D&D with his family. Meanwhile, Smith turned up to his session 0 with Page having already wrote his own character sheet and expanded his character's on-screen backstory with additional headcanon. Smith had done some serious legwork, confirmed Wizard Senior Creative Director Jeremy Jarvis. He appeared to have complete blast playing too, being the most high-energy person and jumping out of his seat during the adventure, according to Sherp. Listen, I truly believe in the magic of tabletop. It's why I'm personally so invested in this hobby, and it's very comforting to know that the people responsible for this movie feel that same magic, and not only that, but shared it with the people involved in playing. It's very comforting to know that people came into this just doing their job as actors and left knowing what we all know, that this game is different. So that said, I have seen the movie, and a lot of my fears are quelled. Not going to spoil anything. I was worried about the paladin being the butt of jokes. He certainly was not. And I was also a little worried about the black characters being just kind of pushed aside as comedic relief, very similar to Slug in the 2000
Nails.
Snails, or whatever
Snails.
his name was in the original Dungeons and Dragons movie, and that was not the case here. This was hilarious, and it was a low level adventure, which was also
True.
very exciting. So yeah, just a good movie. Please check it out. So let's support it, and let Hollywood know that yes, we can tell great stories in these worlds. But I'm curious, do any of you have any thoughts about the movie?
It's been getting really good reviews. It's I think 90% on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Yeah, that's huge.
Compared to I've seen the original Dungeons and Dragons movie. Can I ask a question of the people that have watched this? Is there good neck acting in this movie?
Neck acting.
There's not nearly as much neck acting in this movie as there was in the Jeremy Irons Dungeons and Dragons movie, because the bad guy in that movie was doing all of his acting via the neck.
Yeah. I mean, there was plenty of acting. They acted their hearts out. I got so excited, Nor, when you were talking about how the POC characters were not like sidelined or anything like that, because it truly felt like the people you would expect to be the main characters were not, and the other people you would think like would have no character development or arc or backstory, and they just be like plopped in to like be utility, are super important characters to the plot. They do cool stuff throughout the whole movie. It's just exciting to watch them. They are my favorite characters. My favorite characters are all POC. and I so many of my like favorite lines were by them, and I would be happy to watch this again.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
this is a good one. They treat the property with respect. It's not
Right.
like, isn't it weird that there's an Aarakocra? Like, no,
Yeah.
Aarakocras just exist. All these creatures just exist. It's part of the world.
What?
So
Things exist in a world. No, but also chat was saying that they wish there was more neck in the new D&D movie.
Yeah, more
There needs to be more
Nor-
neck acting.
more
Listen, it's a
neck,
lost
more
art.
somebody get Jeremy Irons on the phone right now. This cast needs instruction on neck acting.
neck.
Well, speaking of construction,
Hey!
there is some
Hey.
exciting DLC coming out for some D&D related products. Bonsai, will you tell us more?
Yes. Guess what? With all of this, oh man, I forgot to bring my tin hat. But now is the coming age of D&D. First, we had Lord of the Rings take over, and then everyone was really into sexy monsters and vampires and stuff, and then they went to like low fantasy Game of Thrones. But now it's really high fantasy is now going to be mainstream after, of course, superheroes. Sorry, I missed the gap of superheroes. But yes, so much so that even Minecraft is getting a D&D DLC. This is coming from Matt Jarvis from Dicebreakers. Thank you very much. WotC has partnered with Mojang to build an official D&D DLC for Minecraft. The game will take form of a 10-hour Minecraft campaign spanning 10 different Forgotten Realms, inspired hub locations such as Candle Keep, the Sword Coast, etc. Players will take a role of one of the 4 classic D&D characters, so barbarian, wizard, rogue, paladin, each of course having their own special abilities, and fighting classic D&D monsters, like beholders, mimics. Like if you click on the link, you can see a lot of the graphics. I'm very excited. Of course, like Minecraft universe, there's already been folks offhand who already have created their own campaigns and mini worlds that you can jump into. But it's actually really exciting to hear that WotC is working officially with Mojang to make an actual campaign that you can go through with your friends. The campaign itself would also feature dialogue trees, complete with D20 rolls to determine a success or a failure. The DLC is supposedly coming out this spring, but no price or specific details have been announced. First question, Javion, are you down
Yes.
to play a game with me?
100%, 100,000%, absolutely.
What about Anita and Noir? Should we be like, hey Gen Con, we need Minecraft passes. Can we all just play this for a couple of sessions?
We need a Minecraft budget in addition to our romper budget.
Yes,
Oh my gosh,
need
yes.
both.
I have never once and will never be involved with the Minecraft franchise or any property
What?
thereof.
I've
What?
never played Minecraft either.
If I wanted to play with Legos, I would play with Legos.
What Noir? Think about it this way. It's not just Minecraft, it's Minecraft D&D, wherein they integrate D&D into the Minecraft experience, okay? So it's not just, oh, look, we're placing down beholder blocks or whatever. No, you're actually rolling dice in it. That's what Bonsai said.
Noir, are you on the same track as chat saying that an evil corporation is merging with another evil corporation to make evil corporation things?
It's like an evil corporation Voltron.
Voltron.
Well, I mean, it's not even that. It's just, listen, I've lost friends to Minecraft. Minecraft changes people, and I can't support that.
What? But it's digital Legos. Digital Legos. You know how expensive Legos are nowadays, okay?
Derptagon wants to see the Minecraft D&D Fat Dragon.
Oh, Thunderchod!
Yes.
Yes, the best dragon. However, I'm sorry, I'm going back to it. I have to. The way they used Fat Dragon in D&D, I thought it was gonna be cheesy. I thought it was gonna be dumb. I thought it was gonna be whatever, just a dragon, but it's fat. They made it good. I loved it. Please go see it. Everybody go see it. Okay, we gotta move on. We've been talking so much about D&D Minecraft. We've been talking about the D&D cast playing. But what about people who just want to have the D&D experience? Are you folks ready for the D&D official virtual tabletop? Well, look no further because it is coming out this year. That's right. You'll be able to play test it starting this year. It's officially going into playtest, and you are able to. It was announced last summer, and you are going to be able to play with all of the tabletop stuff. So it's going to be using Unreal Engine 5 for all of its 3D environments and spell effects. And from the way that this looks in this Dicebreaker article, shout out to Matt Jarvis, thank you very much for this article. It looks really high definition. It looks like they put a lot of heart into the actual animations of it. So it's not just text or pictures on a screen. It's actually 3D rendered and all of that really good stuff. It's going to have appropriately flamey fireballs being cast and all the monsters and fire tokens being spawned in by the DM as you would expect. However, what makes this different than your average virtual tabletop is the level of depth that they integrate the rules into the game system. So it's going to have automatic initiative order, meaning as soon as you take in your action, it goes right to the next person without any delay. The DM has control over everything, so you can go back in time as well. But all of your action options are available to you right there on the screen, so you never have to wonder about like all the different options you have available and forget that you knew that you had free actions or that you can down a potion or open a door instead of just kicking somebody's butt. There's plenty of other stuff that integrates it in on screen UI that helps you keep track of who's got the highest perception, for instance, or passive perception and things like that are much easier to maintain. A lot of it is the 3D dice that people are excited about being able to, instead of just numbers appearing on the screen from a random generator that kind of feels soulless. Being able to hear the clicking and the clacking of all the many dice that you're rolling is a really unique part that people are looking forward to as well. It's planned for late 2023. More details will be announced, like how players are going to be able to sign up. It's all going to be part of the rollout for Wizards of the Coast. But for now, we're just hearing about the play test, so we'll be able to, get our testing and see what we think about the content. A lot of the community created content as well is what I'm looking forward to, seeing what other people mod into it, and the community created like monster tokens and things like that. How much of it am I going to have to buy on my own versus being able to like pull in my other players and stuff like that? It's fully integrated with D&D Beyond as well, so you will be able to like make a character and really easily plop it into your games if you're using the virtual tabletop. Is it gonna completely do away with other tabletop systems, virtual or otherwise? Absolutely not. No, it's just for D&D anyway, and people play way more than D&D. But it's really nice to see that there is a tool that people can use that will help keep us on track with the rules and all the other tedious stuff that we typically don't like to do over the table. So, what are you guys thinking about the playtest? Are you going to hop onto it?
Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely gonna try it out. Uh, Not to bring up old news, but like I I've wanted to be excited about this VTT ever since it was announced, and when the OGL kind of established rules for other VTTs and kind of trying to limit what they're able to do, it left a bitter aftertaste in my mouth for this particular VTT. And after watching the D&D Direct, it's on its own merits, it looks like a very impressive virtual tabletop. And if they fix the homebrew integration where I could create something homebrew on D&D Beyond, and then the virtual tabletop is able to integrate that flawlessly, I think that would be brilliant, and that they didn't need to go about ensuring this VTT's dominance the way that they did if they would just focus on making their own thing as good as it appears to be. Like, this is, I think, I'm not certain, but I think this is the only virtual tabletop that's utilizing Unreal Engine. And it looks amazing. And Unreal is such an accessible engine that if they allow other people to, create assets for it, this could be wildly dominant. It just kind of sucks that they tried to rig the game first. It shows a little bit of not believing in their own product. And it just leaves lingering doubts in my head. That's why I'm eager to get my hands on it so I can get a more informed opinion.
And there's I think also mentioned was that the fact that there might be microtransactions and virtual add-ons for specific things like minis and the like, so it might be referred less to as a VTT, and as Cranston Snored in chat just said, FETT.
Oh gosh, I hope not. I really hope not. I think. Sorry, go Bonzo. What are your thoughts?
Oh no, I was just going to say that I'm really excited about this in terms of from a streamer's perspective. It's very hard when you try to play D&D, especially when you try to move minis around. If there's some way that we can actually show it, especially if they're using Unreal Engine and making it really, really pretty. Also, accessibility. That's just a bigger thing. Like, not everyone can go to like gaming areas and stuff, and they need a little bit more of a physical, artistic attribute to see things. So I'm excited to see if it does, because if it works, then this would be a much prettier game to like stream, in all honesty.
Yeah, it definitely would add an extra dimension to a lot of live streams. I know that you can do similar things with Roll20 when you have like a battle map up, but it's Roll20. So it is your basic icons, avatars, and everything. You can have beautiful maps on it, but having something that's like that looks this realistic and is this like virtual reality scape is very, very cool.
I think one thing that they're going to have to watch out for is, because this is a D&D specific thing, and because of how strongly they encourage people to use the rules as guidelines, they got to let the DM have a lot of power to like overwrite the things that are already like baked into their system. So this is just a play test, so when it does come out, we'll have a plenty of chance to give our thoughts and opinions and ask for the things that we want to change. So with that being said, let's just jump into our next headline here. And Bonsai, why don't you give us the news?
Alrighty, folks. Unfortunately, we're going to take this fun news and kind of put it on the brakes with some actual serious news that is a problem within our gaming sphere, or basically in our community, that has been brought to attention. Thank you again for Linda Codega at Gizmodo for giving us this like news. It's a lot, so I'm just going to go ahead and give people a little bit of a warning. This is some heavy stuff that is going on. Coming up is basically Wormwood is being accused of misogyny, bullying, sexual harassment. Just not a very good, healthy environment for the people that work in it and who are involved within this space. If you guys don't know, Wormwood Gaming is a company. You might have seen them in a lot of conventions that make dice towers, accessories, and or like basically role-playing tables, luxury items made of wood, and other stuff. It's come out basically over the years. A lot of not so nice things have been happening at this company. Following up on the accusations that premium tabletop furniture and accessory brand Wormwood Gaming has covered up employee sexual misconduct. Linda Codega, of course, if you guys don't remember that name, was one of the first few people who broke out about the OGL 1.2 story. Update now coming in with more hot hitting news. I'm just gonna say applause. Journalism. This one has some journalism chops under here, coming in with all the hot news. Reported on accusations that the Wormwood leadership has created a toxic workplace culture involving sexual harassment, misogyny, safety issues galore. This, of course, holding kicked off late February when the former Woodworm employee came forward with an accusation that they fired him in 2020 to cover up sexual misconduct on the part of another employee. Wormwood responded by releasing a discussion of the event on their YouTube channel, Worm Life. The discussion, which has since been removed, showing an apparent disregard for the accusation, and only ended up drawing more negative flack and everything. Two Wormwood partners, Take This and Dispel Dice, ended their relationship with Wormwood following the release of that video. So I don't know, people on Reddit, if you can try finding it, once they post a video, it's never really gone. There was a follow-up on Twitter asking if any current employees to reach out with their experiences. Just basically, a lot of people came out being like, oh, hey, this is what has been happening. Of course, we ended up reporting Wormwood in 2020 about another video they had of the general disrespect of woodworkers who, like, with company products on discard for their safety, following like folks smoking weed while operating heavy machinery, multiple OSHA violations, and failure to enforce basically PPE, where like basically ventilation wearing. Because as a woodworker, I can tell you a lot of the woods that they work with and a lot of substances that they work with are not good for your lungs, like at all, because it can cause lung problems and brain problems if you don't have the correct protection on those things. And then just a lot of the biggest one that come out about the company's owner and their head of like basically was accused of sexual harassment by multiple and current employer employees. Other employees corroborate that the management and owners of Woodwood have a pattern of misogyny that suggests that women are routinely passed over for promotion because some of the statements that some of the owners have made regarding that, like, this is just what has been reported. Yeah, that women's place is making babies.
In I believe in their senior management team, there is one female member, a femme member of their senior management team, but she shares that role with another male employee.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. So I would really encourage you to go ahead and look at the link, look at the articles, and see the paper trail that is there. Because we can have our own opinions, but you should make your own. And there's no real way to fully describe how bad this is. How bad.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more, Bonsai. I think that people, when we hear about things like this, unfortunately, we do have to report not always on the good stuff, but some of the bad stuff too. So it's important for all of you out there to make those kinds of informed decisions when you know that a company is something has been accused of things like this or is in the middle of things like this. Do your own research and find out for yourselves. But sometimes on this show, we are able to raise people up and applaud their good work. So that's what we're going to do on this next headline here. The Golden Demon USA 2023 winner was announced. For those of you who don't know, Games Workshop holds the Golden Demon USA 2023 awards every year and gives different categories of miniatures painters different awards for their hard work and their dedication to the craft. It is a hobby that is thriving, and there are lots of people who have participated, but we do have a winner for the top prize. The coveted Slayer sword went to Neil Hollis. Congratulations to Mr. Hollis. Who also won the silver in the open competition and the gold prize in the Warhammer 40K category. Thank you to Jeffrey Dome Sanchez for writing this article. ICV2, definitely check it out for yourselves. If you also want to take a look at some of the art, some of the artistry, the hobby that they have participated in, there are lots of different categories, such as the single, squad, vehicle, and large models for Warhammer 40K, as well as single, unit, and large miniatures for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. And if you probably didn't know this, but there was also a Middle Earth strategy battle game miniatures category, as well as categories for best diorama, duel, small scale, and for younger painters, the Youngblood category, as well as the open competition. There's lots of different categories, and maybe next year, if you're inspired by some of the fine work that these people, the dedication that they put into all of this, you can maybe enter into the open competition and then get yourself submitted into the larger categories as well. This is some really, really cool stuff that people have put together. Definitely check out the article below. All right, so there we go. One headline down, but one last headline to go. Anita, will you take it away?
Yes. So Descent Legends of the Dark Act 2 is a new expansion that is a the first expansion for Fantasy Adventure board game Descent Legends of the Dark. It will release this autumn and it will cost almost as much as the original game. So the original game's MSRP was $174.99. This one is set to be $159.99. It is not a standalone game, and it does require a copy of the original core game in order to play it. It also comes with a sizable box compared to the base game, with new miniatures and terrain, which are all beautifully constructed. But it is a very high price point, especially since you do already need the original game in order to play it. Now, the co-designer Brendan Perdue told Matt Jarvis at Dicebreaker that this isn't a game line that resets for each product. People have noted that the game's boxes say Act 1 and Act 2. That's to let them know that rather than it being a cute alternative to say core set, it's an expansion on the story. So you get to see where the characters progress throughout, which is kind of a very cool concept. But the price point is very high for you to drop that
Yeah.
much cheddar on one game. But it beautifully constructed, beautiful art on the boxes. But it's how hardcore are you that you're willing if you're willing to spend about $300 for this product?
The most hardcore.
If you love
The
something,
hardest core.
yeah. Just
Yeah.
you love something, do it.
Exactly.
Do it. Treat yourself. Treat
If you
yourself.
love something,
yourself.
treat yourself. And I'm not gonna say buy this or don't, but it seems like a very beautifully made, well-produced product. But it is definitely out of my personal budget.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I definitely have dropped something on like, I don't know, Gloomhaven or some of the bigger box games. I think Bonsai, while we were talking about all of this, you're saying something how this like the Gloomhaven before Gloomhaven or something like that.
Mm-hmm. There's the
I mean, it
Gloomhaven
looks
before Gloomhaven.
yeah, it definitely looks like it. I mean, I've seen the big box games and you can invest a lot. It's just got to have like the content to go with it. I think really the minis when you take out the link in the chat here to the article, you'll be able to see what we see. It's a huge box for a
Yes.
reason. Descent always makes these huge boxes.
It is absolutely. And like the character art on the cards is gorgeous. It's fantastic. And the idea that you have a game where you can keep playing it, where you can where the story has an arc and so do each of the characters, and you don't know what the full scope of it is until like the credits are over. It's very interesting.
Well, I think that's just gonna about do it for our headlines today, and it's gonna lead us right into Bundle Boss. That's Noir.
Ooh,
Hey,
bundle
what's up,
boss
y'all?
glasses.
I'm the bundle boss.
Yeah.
I didn't plan anything for this bit other than putting on glasses. All right. Let's get into it. So our bundle today is a very timely one. It's the TTRPG for trans rights in Florida. Listen, we don't need to really get into it. You can pay attention to the world right now. This is a community that needs our help, and this is a great way to go about it. 505 games for $5, raising funds for two Florida charities: Zebra Youth and Trans Inclusive Group, supporting trans rights and queer youth facing homelessness. Um, if you're not doing it for the games, I don't see how you can see everything that's going on and not feel compelled to help for this cause. And there are some incredible games in this bundle. You've got Thirsty Sword Lesbians, which there's so many amazing actual plays utilizing that system. If you have not had the chance to check them out, please do. There's Visigoths versus Molgoths, which is another extremely fun game. And it leads to some really creative storytelling. And then there are ones that I haven't heard of, but I'm very excited to get my hands on. So listen, 505 games for $5, and you're getting the chance to help a group that really needs our support right now. This is a win-win. I shouldn't have to sell you on it, but if in case I do, 505 games for $5. You can't even get 5 McChickens for $5 right now. That'll get you 3 and 1 small fry. Don't ask how I know.
The important thing to remember is that when one of us gets attacked, we all roll initiative.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I love it when we get to shed some spotlight on really cool bundles like this, not just because it's just a great cause, but you also save a ton of money on awesome content. And it's all of these really cool games that you can try out, and it's all for $5. I always think it's crazy when they allow people to use their content to get more notoriety for all of the different games that they've made. They spend so much time on for just like $5. You get like tons and tons of games. So definitely check it out. It's really easy to support a really good cause.
They have 7 days left on the bundle, and they have already raised $238,000. They're looking to get $250,000.
Hype.
238,000. Excuse me.
Thousand.
1,000. That's crazy. That just tells you that this is a really good bundle. You should definitely check it out. I've always wanted to try Wander Home. I think Sarah's Table actually had it showcased a couple of times, but I never got to play it myself.
I've played it. It's fantastic. It's such a wonderful, wholesome game.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
there's a lot like Chainsaw Humans. So if you like Chainsaw Man and you want that experience at the table, there's that. They have
Definitely a wizard.
they have accessories for other games, like exclusive playbooks for like mass games, and like you can't miss with this.
You can't. You really can't. I also see that Thirsty Sword Lesbians, the award-winning RPG, is on here.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine getting that for $5, an award-winning RPG. That's crazy. Sorry, I know I'm just like saying it over and over again, but it's wild. It's wild that they're doing it for so little. Just it's so easy. Just add on.
And I mean, if those aren't into like, you can literally find any RPG in this list that you are interested in. There is one that is a TTRPG that is based off a fishing simulator.
That sounds awesome.
It's called Rod Reel Fish.
And there are a bunch of solo RPGs in this as well. So if you're thinking, well, this sounds great, but I don't have a playing group, there's still things here for you, and it's $5. So you can have stuff waiting for you when you do get a game group, while still having games that you can play by yourself until that happens.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I think that's just gonna about do it for our bundle boss. Thank you once again, Noir, as always.
My job here is done.
But wait, there's more. We have a very special segment coming up. We have an interview with the one and only Craig Campbell of NerdBurger Games, and we're gonna learn all about Die Laughing 2, Die Laughinger on Backer Kit. So yeah, so let's
Heck
bring him
yeah.
in, folks. Just give us 1 second while we Bonsai, if you wouldn't mind giving us a
Oh,
little bit
do
of
do do
this
intro
music.
transforming music. Do 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 do.
It's Craig!
Hey!
Craig!
Hi there. Welcome to our show, Craig Campbell. We are so excited to have you. Welcome. How are you?
Good. How are you?
We are doing great here. We are excited to hear all about the expansion to Die Laughing 2. What can you tell us about this system that you have created?
Yeah, well, the original game, and you can get that as part of the crowdfunding effort as well, because who puts up a supplement and doesn't let you get the core game too? So it's a GM-less kind of short play role-playing game where you are all portraying characters in a horror comedy movie, and everybody's gonna die. So make it funny and entertaining and memorable. And when your character is gone, you become a producer on the movie, and you continue to manipulate things and influence the story as it goes. And so as the game goes, more and more characters die, and so there's more and more producers like mucking with everything.
Oh.
And Die Laughing 2, Die Laughinger is a supplement to that. So it's, more characters that you can get killed, more monsters that you can do the killing with, and then a subset of rules called film styles that is kind of laid over the game, where if you want, you can be you can recreate this sort of thing in the game anyway, but this gives you like a little simple rule set to, create a game that falls during the Hays Code era when there was a lot of restrictions on what you could show in movies. And so you're encouraged to make sure to keep everything squeaky clean. And if you get too graphic, you end up in the doghouse and you get penalized in some way. And there's, art film where like who cares if the story makes sense, just make it beautiful and all this weird symbolism and, make the visuals lush and everything. And so you can add that sort of stuff with the game as well.
This sounds awesome.
Heck
I
yeah.
really want to. I want to take a closer look at this because I've always been a huge fan of GM-less games. And I was curious, what do you think went into the decision to make it GM-less? Did you have that goal from the start, or did that develop?
Oh boy, this game was upwards of 10 years in the making as I bounced through
Wow.
different ways to do it. The core idea was I wanted to create a horror game where when your character died, you had something to do in the game still that didn't involve just making a new character and just, joining the group or whatever. And so it bounced around between a lot of different versions. It was a more GM and players kind of game. There was a card-based thing. It was a story game thing along the lines of Fiasco. It bounced all over the place until I kind of hit on the conceit of, you're making a movie. And so there's other roles outside of the actors and the characters and the monsters in the movie. And then that kind of, once I hit on that, like the whole game just like barfed out of my mouth in the court, or flew onto the keyboard, in very short order. Like it all just kind of came together.
So do you mind if I ask what phase of the game do you enjoy playing more? The point where you're just waiting to die or being the producer?
Well, when I play, usually because I'm facilitating my own game, right? I'm playing a character, but I'm also there, and I try to not steal the spotlight, so I usually try to race to death as quickly as possible so that I can show people like what the producer thing can kind of be. So you kind of get into that role quickly. Now, that said, I've had players at the table who have recognized the fun in that too, and they race to death as quickly as possible. Like they do everything they can. Like they encourage people to do stuff that's going to cause them to lose their life total, and you'll whittle down your character's life total and eventually get killed by the monster.
Oh, that's great. I guess. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, can you recall any notable or exceptionally hilarious deaths?
Oh boy. We had in a playtest, because I did all my playtesting at conventions. I just like took the game to conventions and just play tested with who wanted to play. And so there was one where the setup was that like we were getting toward the end and a character got killed in like a huge explosion, and we were in like an abandoned hospital with all this old equipment and everything, and there was like oxygen tanks and stuff, and like so they set up this big explosion. And there's one thing that you can do as a producer is you can scale back the budget on them, and you can interject and say no, we don't have the money for a big explosion, like scale it back a little bit. And there's nothing to stop multiple producers from just stacking on. So like the person scaled it back from a big explosion to a small explosion, and described that. And then another producer said, no, we really don't have any money. Scale it back. And so it becomes like an improv game. And they kept saying, get smaller, get smaller, get smaller. And it ended with somebody getting hit by like an old rolling iron lung machine that they could salvage from a junkyard for no money, that like came down the stairs and hit somebody and crushed them instead of a giant
That's awesome. Well, we're talking about like how this game works and things like that. What do you need to actually get started with it? Is it just the PDF and then friends, or do you need dice or anything like that too?
Yeah, the game uses D6s. You'll each player will need 6 D6s. And when you start the game, that's your dice pool. That's your life pool. Your dice pool is your life. And so as you play during different scenes, you're making checks for various reasons, and those checks result in people losing dice from their pool in various ways. And so your dice are a countdown to your character's death. As the game goes along, you dwindle and dwindle and dwindle. And when you run out of dice, you describe how your character dies horrifically and hilariously to whatever the monster is for that game.
That's excellent.
So what does the sequel add to the original Die Laughing product? What does Die Laughing 2 introduce as new concepts?
Well, it's the film styles is the big new thing. Like I added, there's additional monsters that aren't in the game, in the core game, and additional characters. So there's like a religious figure that you can play. There's a lawyer. For if you want to go in that direction, and I discuss it in like the idea of going too far and everything too, is like you can play the kid. Like nobody's going to kill the kid in the horror movie. Now, if you don't want to have kids in precarious situations, obviously don't do that. But for those people who are like let's get zany with this, but I think the most interesting aspect of the new game or of the supplement is the film styles, because you can take what would otherwise just like the game will just morph into what it becomes. Like you'll kind of figure it out. Like by halfway through, you'd be like, is this a B movie, or are we playing this a little more serious, or are we treating this like a big budget movie that just didn't do very well, or is it legitimately made to be a horror comedy comedically, or is it accidentally funny?
Are we going cult classic on this one?
Right. Yeah. But if you apply the film style thing, it gives everybody kind of a focus of a direction to go.
Okay. Like when you were mentioning like the kids thing, it made me immediately think of like setting up like a Stranger Things type world, but it definitely does not have the Stranger Things budget.
Well, the game, the supplement, one of the monsters in there is the extra dimensional thing.
Yeah.
So it's like the horrific thing from beyond, from some other realm that stretches our perception of reality and so forth. And so that was a monster type that wasn't in the original core game. So I added it in here along with things like the octo shark, and the killer plants and a few others.
Can I ask for more elaboration on what an octo shark is? Because
yeah,
I don't have the quote right in front of me, but it's literally described in there as it's either an octopus with shark heads at the end of the tentacles, or it's a shark with 8 octopus tentacles.
Both options are horrible.
Now I just have more questions.
Oh yeah. No,
I guess they're great.
All of them are great. Well, yeah.
Why not the shark with the 8 tentacles, and each 8 of the 8 tentacles is a shark head on the end of it?
More shark heads.
If you look at the page, you will see that that's actually what the illustration shows. It's a shark with tentacles, and each tentacle has a shark head on the end, so it's 9 shark mouths.
That's pretty awesome. Oh, for my question,
it crawls across land. So
okay.
Okay, that one. Oh, that's so Jurichu. I don't know if you guys ever saw that one, sir. Just thinking of comic books. Anywho, my question was, how did you, when describing a lot of monsters and horror movies, how were you able to describe these types of monsters without hitting any copyright, like being like xenomorphs or something like that?
Oh, parody. It's parody. Yeah. And parody, everything is fair game in parody. So there are certainly things that are clearly inspired by franchise movie monsters, or even movie monsters from like one-off movies. Or they're weird combinations of that. There's the weird demon pain guy that's in the first one. That's Hellraiser. It doesn't look like any of the known Cenobites, but it looks like a Cenobite. Like that could be a Cenobite, and that's their whole shtick, is that they dig on pain. But it's just nothing in there looks exactly like any particular movie monster, outside of just a giant irradiated insect is a giant irradiated insect. No matter what. But yeah, just like it's all very tongue in cheek, and like the influences should be generally pretty clear. There's some obscure stuff, but most of it's clear.
I think that's a great way to describe it. I've been scanning through. I've been loving all of the art design, and I'm really excited to finally actually get a chance to try this. For you folks who are watching in Twitch chat, click on the link down there. You can find it on backerkit.com. It's Die Laughing too. Die Laughinger. So Craig, can you tell us what else do you have in the works? What's next after this campaign ends?
Oh boy, this year is sort of the year of sequels and supplements for NerdBurger games. There's a supplement for the any nominated Good Strong Hands. The supplement's called What is Light Without Dark? And it introduces new folk, character types that you can play, and whole other realms that are kind of lost and that were broken away or hidden away, or thought destroyed in the core world of Reverie. That's part of Good Strong Hands. So it gets into like all the hidden stuff, everything that's lost and forgotten. And then later in the year, if all goes well, and Anita knows about this because Anita's doing some work, is the bookend to Capers, which is the game from a few years ago, which
Yes.
is superpowered gangsters in the 20s, and there have been supplements that take you through the eras into the 40s and the 60s and all this, and there's science fiction kind of oriented stuff. And this one is set in the 2020s, a modern day but alternate modern day, called Capers Cyberpunk. And all
There it
of
is.
all of the superpowered criminals have now become enemies of the state, and enemies, and by the state I mean the Megacorps, and are fighting to put the Megacorps back in their place, which is to destroy them, or to break them into pieces or whatever. So that's where that's going.
All right. Well, we are looking forward to much more news about that and from your studio coming later this year. All right, folks. That's gonna do it for the episode today. Craig, thank you so much for joining us. Anita, we're so glad that you're here with us. But stick around, everyone, because right after this, we are gonna be doing TableTakes game night. We have not one but two special guests, because not only Anita will be here, but Mr. Bonsai will be joining us to run. What is the name of the game again? Bonsai?
Before fire.
Bonsai.
Before fire. Sorry. Before fire.
See, I'm not the only one. Before fire.
I have a good life.
Thank you, producer. Thank you, Marcus. We're going to be playing Before Fire. It is a Neanderthal RPG where we will be very limited in our speech, and we're going to be trying to get through lots and lots of different scenarios that Neanderthals would get into. Craig, do you have a point of reference?
Can I? No, just before we head out, I got one other thing to throw out there that I forgot. I'm kicking myself because I have.
Go ahead.
For the first time this year, NerdBurger Games has its own booth at Gen Con.
Yes. Okay, sweet. That's you caught us. We were always supposed to ask about Gen Con related things.
That's okay. That's okay.
So thank you for letting us know. Check out NerdBurger Games and Die Laughing at Gen Con later this year. Also coming up after game night today, we have another episode of Joyful Gaming with Sarah's Table. And for those of you who don't know our streaming schedule, I'll give you the quick rundown. On Mondays, we've got the premiere at 9 a.m. of Peter versus the Machine, where Peter Adkison will be playing a board game against himself, or the machine rather, the Automa, whatever game he's playing. And then we're going to have at 4 p.m. as always on Mondays, Board Games with the Brothers Murph, followed by Dress to Quest at 6 p.m. On Wednesdays, we have Actor Roki at 6 p.m. And on Thursdays, we've got Blood on the Clock Tower at 10 a.m., followed by Roll with Rema Alternus at 4 p.m. And then you can join us back here on Fridays for more TableTakes Game Night, and Sarah's Table every single week. Last shout out to all of our viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in. We rely on you to keep the show running, as well as all of our beautiful hosts and guest hosts and our interviewees, as well as our producer, Marcus. Thank you so much for helping us make this possible. Remember, for all of you out there, if you missed any of our programming, you can check out the VODs here on Twitch or on YouTube 24 hours later. Or you could just follow us here on Gen Con TV for more of the best 4 Davies in gaming all year long. All right, that's going to do it for us. We'll see you in just 30 minutes. Bye-bye.